America just got a major economic shakeup, and most people haven't realized how big this could be yet. In a closely watched vote, the US Senate has officially confirmed a new leader for the Federal Reserve at one of the most sensitive financial moments in years. This isn't just another Washington appointment buried under political headlines. The person now controlling interest rate policy is stepping into a battlefield where inflation is still haunting household budgets, borrowing costs remain painfully high, and millions of Americans are asking the same question: when does life actually get cheaper again? Markets were already tense heading into the decision because whoever took this role would inherit a balancing act that could either stabilize the economy or push it into another wave of uncertainty. And now, with the confirmation complete, Wall Street businesses and everyday families are all watching for the first signals of what comes next. For the average American, the Federal Reserve can feel distant, technical, and honestly kind of boring until it starts affecting your life directly. And that's exactly what's happening now. The Fed decides whether interest rates go up, stay elevated, or eventually come down. That means mortgage payments, car loan, credit card interest, student debt costs, and even job growth all connect back to back with this institution. Over the last few years, Americans have lived through an economic roller coaster. Inflation exploded, rates surged aggressively, and suddenly money became expensive again. Buying a home got harder, expanding a business got riskier, carrying debt become more painful. Now, the new Fed leadership takes over during a period where inflation has cooled from its worst levels, but stubborn prices pressures still haven't disappeared completely. The biggest challenge ahead is simple to explain but extremely hard to solve. How do you finish defeating inflation without crushing the economy? If rates stay too high for too long, growth slows, companies reduce hiring, and recession fears comes roaring back. But if rates come down too quickly, inflation could rebound and undo your years of painful progress. That's why this relationship transition is happening under intense pressure. Investors are desperate for clarity. Business want predictability. Consumers want relief. And politicians, especially with major election looming, are hyper aware that economic pain often translates directly into voter anger. Every speech, every press conference, and every policy signal from the Fed now carries enormous weight because markets aren't just listening, they are trying to predict the future from every sentence. Wall Street reacted cautiously because this appointment could reshape expectations for the rest of the year. Traders are now analyzing whether the newly leadership will stay aggressive on inflation or begin opening the door to softer approach. That matters because stock prices have recently been fueled by optimism that rate cuts could arrive sooner rather than later. If the Fed signals patience and keeps rates elevated, markets may need to reprice that optimism fast. On the other hand, even a slightly more flexible tone could trigger renewed confidence across stocks, tech investments, and consumer spending. In other words, this isn't just about economics in suits debating decimals. It's about trillions of dollars moving based on confidence, fear, and expectations. Politically, this confirmation also lands at a fascinating moment. Economic messaging has become central to national debate, with leaders across both parties trying to convince voters they understand the pain of rising costs. Grocery bills, rent, insurance, and everyday essentials have become economical issues as much as financial ones. So, while the Fed is designed to operate independently from politics, its decisions inevitably shape political narratives. If inflation continues easing and rates eventually come down without triggering a downturn, this could be viewed as a successful transition. But if inflation re escalates or unemployment begins climbing, criticism will arrive from every direction almost immediately. The margin for error is tiny and public patience is thinner than ever. So, why should viewers care about what just happened in the Senate? Because this decision could quietly influence your financial life over the next 12 months more than many louder political battles dominating headlines. If you are hoping to buy a house, refinance debt, invest in the market, switch jobs, or simply feel less squeezed by rising cost, the path ahead now depends heavily on how this new leadership investigates one of the toughest economic environments in recent memories. The inflation fight isn't over, it's just entering a new phase. And whether that phase ends with relief, renewed pressure, or unexpected economic turbulence will affect millions of Americans far beyond Washington. If you like the video, please do consider subscribing the channel, and I will write back with you. Till then, goodbye.